Welcome to Torero Stadium in San Diego for the first ever meeting between the San Diego Wave and the Washington Spirit. Glad to have you along with me as we get back into the swing of things in the NWSL season. I'm Maura Sheridan here on the Twitch feed. Now, this is a Washington team that really desperately wants to get back in the win column. Their last win was May 1st. That was the opener against OL Reign 2-1, and they haven't pulled out a victory since. Now, in the mix, you see Chris Ward there. There's been 6 draws for the Washington Spirit, but head coach Chris Ward would like to turn things around and finally get a win. It's going to be a tough task coming here to San Diego. San Diego 5-2-3 on the year. That's the best record in the NWSL right now, and so they are the team to beat. They are on a 4-game unbeaten streak. Now, that does include 3 ties and most recently a win against Gotham FC a couple of weeks ago. We'll see what happens today. Again, Washington and San Diego, both teams posing for their early photos as San Diego's in their typical home blues and Washington, of course, on the road. You see there on the right side of your screen, Carly Telford, who will be the starting keeper for San Diego. And for Washington, they're going to go with Devin Kerr. And that's because the 2 keepers for both of these teams, Kaylin Sheridan and Aubrey Kingsbury, the usual starters, are out because they're with their respective national teams. So Kaylin Sheridan's with Canada, and Aubrey Kingsbury is with the United States, preparing for CONCACAF W tournament that starts tomorrow. Telford walking out for San Diego. Of course, the seasoned vet for Casey Stoney and company. She has had a very long career in soccer. Chelsea Ladies, Telford, 34 years old, and she played 2 games in the Challenge Cup for San Diego when Kaylin Sheridan was out, so it's not like she has never played for the Wave. And for Devin Kerr, this is her first start, just 25 years old. It's her birthday today, and Kerr will again make her first ever start. Now, she did play a half in the Challenge Cup when Kingsbury went down. So a big moment for both of these keepers. As you see the referee today, Samantha Martinez, again, head coach for Washington Spirit, Chris Ward, and for San Diego, it's Casey Stoney. All right, we are good to go. Again, Washington in white. And of course, the biggest storyline in this game is the fact that a lot of huge players are missing, and so a bunch of players are going to have to step up on either side. I mean, going through the Washington starters that are not going to be available, or just players that are usually in the mix that are not available, would take a long time. I'm sure we'll get there throughout the course of the game, but 7 players representing the U.S. Women's National Team for Washington, which is incredible, but it also means that they had to mix up a lot of their starting lineup today. San Diego's in a similar boat as Staub slices this one forward. Losing Alex Morgan, Germa. And of course, I mentioned Sheridan. Taylor Korniak is with the U.S. Women's National Team as well. Here's a cross in the box, and it's cleared out. An early push from Washington on the road. There was a lot of excitement for the Spirit team just to come to San Diego. Of course, West Coast and all of that. But Chris Ward is from San Diego, as is Sam Staub, who is starting center back for the Spirit. A lot of these players across the NWSL from California as well. See, Marissa Shiva talked about all the players with the U.S. Women's National Team on the Washington roster. Shiva is one of those replacement players that is getting the start today. Shiva out of Penn State, that's where she played her college soccer. And talking to Chris Ward this week, he was saying he was debating on who to start as Shimmer gets to work for San Diego. Pass to Turnbow is off, and a tackle is put on. Rolls not out, kept in. Yeah, so again, Ward was wondering if it was going to be Shiva or Tanea Alexander. Ends up going with Shiva in that starting role. I assume we'll see Alexandra off the bench at some point for Washington. Kaylee Reel works from behind steady player that is still available for San Diego, and that's going to be really crucial for teams during this, 2 or so week stretch to kind of survive and rely on those veterans that have had a lot of playing time. Nearly a costly mistake there, as Fields was able to connect with her keeper, Devin Kerr. Again, those are 2 players in positions that they're normally not in with Washington. Here's a chance for San Diego up that left side. McGrady crashing in. She'll keep it. Extra special game for McGrady. Used to play for Washington, won a championship with them last year. Turnbow has it swiped. Dahlkemper. Just her 3rd game with San Diego in the regular season. Rodder being pushed back, loses it. Here's a chance for San Diego. Doniak takes a left-footed shot and saved by Kerr. Good defense there by Washington to get back. Doniak had a goal the last time San Diego played. It was against Gotham FC. Of course, her first goal with the Wave. Just weirdly enough, San Diego's had a ton of success against Gotham FC. Of course, one of the bigger storylines at the beginning of the NWSL season was the 4 goals for Alex Morgan in a 4-0 victory against Gotham FC. And then the last time they played, which again was a couple of weeks ago because of the international break, San Diego was able to down Gotham FC 3-0. So they haven't beat a team by multiple goals except for Gotham. Here's a chance for Turnbow in the area. Defense shading her well. Service in. Fields heads it out. Finally, Bailey Feist gets a good boot on that one. Van Egmond. Chipped out into the crowd. Always a good crowd on hand in San Diego. Of course, an expansion club with Angel City FC just joined the NWSL. And there's a lot of buzz about a Bay Area team potentially joining in a year or so. Of course, California is just a hotbed for soccer players. I don't think that's a revolutionary statement. Anytime you look at NWSL rosters, you just see a lot of players that either played college soccer in California or were born in California. One of them, Sam Staub, again, makes the return to San Diego. Huge part of what Washington has been doing defensively. Washington has played 10 games already this year, so has San Diego. Some teams like North Carolina going into this weekend had just played 7, so it's going to be a little bit slower for these teams moving forward, and Washington was feeling the repercussions of just a lot of games early. Now they'll have some time to rest, and that international break was very crucial for Chris Ward's team in Washington. Got a little healthier, which is absolutely necessary too when you think about all the players that they're missing. So expect to see certain players come in off the bench, like Tara Miquion, who we haven't seen yet this year in the regular season. She is available to come in as a reserve. And of course, Dorian Bailey is in the starting lineup for Washington.
Cover your mic when you're talking.
Bailey suffered a cheekbone injury at the beginning of the year, and so she's expected to go about 60 minutes, according to Chris Ward. It looks like we've got an injury. Shimmer is getting attended to right now as the training staff comes out. Just a little bit of blood here. Again, that's Marlene Shimmer, just 21 years old. getting the start with San Diego. This is her second career start as Stoney. What a job she's done, Casey Stoney, taking over for San Diego. Again, first year as an expansion club, and they just didn't have a good Challenge Cup, finishing the bottom of the West Division. Just completely turned it around. Chemistry, of course, is a huge issue when you're talking about a new club, and helps when you have leaders like Alex Morgan and rookies like Naomi Gurma to step up, and they've just gotten the best out of all of their athletes so far. Shimmer is still being attended to, so she's going to have to step off. Just trying to get that under control. Westfall searching for options, curls it in, doesn't quite get to Turnbow. Back with San Diego, Doniak muscles it through. The wave, turnaround, Van Egmon's played every minute for San Diego this year. Just another look at that Shimmer moment. Oh, just took it right to the face. So again, Washington is going with a very different four-back than what we're used to seeing for them. And that's because Sonnet is with the U.S. Women's National Team, and so is Kelly O'Hara. So you got Jamia Fields on the left, Sam Staub, that's pretty typical. Karina Rodriguez often comes in as a starting center back when Sonnet is out or injured, and so she'll get the start, and then Cam Bigalski is also in there at right back for Washington. So this is fairly new. Meanwhile, on the other end for San Diego, it's decently steady. I mean, these are players that have gotten a lot of time. Westfall, Reel, Dahlkemper, and McGrady. So we'll see how that affects this game. Just new back line, or a new back line for Washington, as Bailey Feist gets some directions from her head coach, Chris Ward. Ward has a lot of good things to say about Feist. In fact, you'll see that she has earned more and more playing time as the season has gone on, and that's just because the way she's trained, according to Ward. And you gotta love the shirts too. I believe, and I hope I'm not just making this up in my mind, I believe those are the Tobin Heath designed shirts. Very special. I saw OL Reign players wearing those on Pride Night on Friday, so don't quote me on that, but I believe Tobin Heath designed those. Audrey Harding, Staub, switching fields for Washington, of course, defending champions in the NWSL. Made it all the way to the Challenge Cup final, loss to North Carolina. It's been a bumpy start to the regular season. But again, the key is they are not losing Washington. They are playing to draws most of the time. 6 already on the year. This one bounces to Kerr. That's the most in the NWSL. And again, it's good, it's not a loss, but there's been many draws over the course of that stretch that should have been wins, including the most recent game against Racing Louisville. I guess it was a while ago on the 17th of June. We're already in a separate month. Went up 2-0 in the first half. Seemed like they were going to walk away with a victory. Nadia Nadim checks in for Racing Louisville. She scores a brace, including one after the 80th minute, and that's that. So Racing Louisville able to sneak away with a point, and that's just got to be so hard for a team like Washington to recover from. But they're very glad that they had that little break. Here's Harding in the box, turns, fires, blocked away. Dahlkemper got in front of that one. Here's another chance for Washington. Feist bouncing around, left-footed cross. See Fields coming up. Controls, push down, and that's going to be San Diego ball. So a goal kick coming for Telford. Again, you see Jamia Fields, I mentioned her before. The last time she played in the NWSL, fall series against Sky Blue. Of course, that's now Gotham. That was 2020. I've been a part of many NWSL teams. Western New York Flash, Pride, and most recently the Houston Dash. Now she's getting some action with Washington. Of course, these are national team replacement players. And there's a chance for the Spirit, and it's just wide. Lovely left-footed shot as Marissa Shiva trying to make a name for herself in the NWSL. Again, this really just starts from a bunch of young players there. You saw a nice touch from Elwell, and then a beauty just, ooh, really with that curve. Just an inch off there for Shiva. And again, Chris Ward said that it was kind of up to Tinea Alexander or Shiva, just based on how they practice. And clearly Shiva had a very good training session this week. And I know that Washington trained a little bit more than usual this week just to get ready. So many new faces. And also having gone so long, you know, without preparing for a game. Stop, Kerr, back and forth. Shimmer all over. This is almost a nightmare. Rodriguez flings it, stays in on the touchline. San Diego with that press. Aggressive and gets it back. Here's a chance. Van Egmond was soaring through the air, got bounced around by Fields. Back to San Diego, and it should be Washington ball. So I will say on just some of those outlets and goal kicks, a little shaky for Washington. And I think that does have a lot to do with it. Not only do you have pretty much a group in the back that has never played together, you have a new keeper in as well. Fields. Elwell. Maddie Elwell scored her first goal in the NWSL in that Racing Louisville game at the very end of the first half, off a rebound from an initial shot by Ashley Hatch. Staub backtracks. Doniak all over Kerr, who sends it out. And you can hear Stoney and the coaching staff for San Diego telling their players to get up. They realize that they have a keeper with not a lot of experience. They realize they have a back line with not a lot of experience that they're going up against. So they're going to put a lot of pressure on Washington. That has been clear from the jump. Shimmer shoved. Harding commits a foul. Decent spot for a free kick. Harding is technically a national team replacement player, although she has played 6 games already with Washington. So compared to some of the players on the field right now for the Spirit, more of a veteran. Here's a chance for San Diego in front of a home crowd. See Dahlkemper and McGrady setting up. Again, Kerr in net for Washington. It's McGrady off her left foot, and this one just hops right to Kerr. She bobbles and then covers. Just opts to go with it. Just an easy rollout to Staub right in front. Here's Karina Rodriguez. Again, that center back duo for Washington of Rodriguez and Staub did play together a fair amount in the Challenge Cup because Sonnet was out. Westfall. San Diego works it around off to Kaylee Reel. Has a goal this year for the Wave. Of course, without Alex Morgan, who has 11 goals on the season. Here's a chance out in front, and it's overshot. Good opportunity there for San Diego. Can't make anything of it. Turnbow with that rip. See this again. McGrady starts things off. Doniak Excuse me, that's Shimmer.
Need to be prepared to go winger! Go winger! Go winger!
Van Egmond all over Fields. Head-to-head battle. Ultimately, Washington works it back. You see, again, all of these San Diego kits on a high press right now. Donnick's been very impressive so far. Just trying to rush. McGrady. Rodriguez. Harding off to the races, earns it back from Washington, finally out of their own defensive end. Again, for the Spirit, it's been 9 consecutive games without a win. San Diego, 4 games unbeaten. Trying to put together a 2-game winning streak, the Wave are. Both teams, of course, signed some replacement players, but Washington is the only one to actually use a replacement player in the starting lineup, and they're using many. Staub will take a free kick. She's pretty much dead center here. And look, if Washington can capitalize here against a run of play, that would be really crucial. Because on the other end, it seems like they're just trying to survive. Telford ready in net. Staub with her left foot. That one bounces wide and ultimately goes out on Washington. Can't save it on the end line. So we're over 20 minutes in. We don't have a score yet. San Diego has certainly put on a push on the other end. Of course, always very active fan base in San Diego. Torero Stadium, that's not even where they're going to play later on. So I believe it's the end of September. They'll head to Snapdragon Stadium. That will be their new home. They've adopted to this stadium well, but Snapdragon is going to be at San Diego State. Supposed to be state-of-the-art, beautiful facilities, so should be really exciting to see that for the Wave. Really just hasn't affected the crowds that they've been able to get. Westfall. Elwell. Karina Rodriguez calling for some help. Off to Staub. One thing that Ward did say that he really wants his team to focus on, Washington, is to win the ball earlier, because he feels like they're going 80, 90 yards to just kind of build up. And so he says, obviously, it's just easier on you legs-wise if you can win the ball 40 yards out versus 80, 90 yards out. And he feels like, well, he actually pulled up a stat. They have to go the 3rd longest way traditionally in the NWSL, and he does want to clean that up a little bit. Staub. Up the middle, off Harding. Floats back to Staub again. Washington with possession time. Nice to Harding. Skating over to the right. Staub again in the midfield, moves left, tries a service, doesn't get through. A little backtrack from Staub again. Now Rodriguez. Rodder. Feist loses it. Back with San Diego. So while Washington is trying to be patient and find the seams, the San Diego defense is being very intentional and also patient themselves and trying to create turnovers. And again, so many players missing from both sides. For Washington, some of their best offensive players, Trinity Rodman, Ashley Sanchez.
Go together! Go together! Go together!
Fields up the touchline. Elwell gets tangled up, and we'll get a foul. I'll call that one against Maddie Elwell, the rookie for Washington. Some leg-to-leg contact with Westfall. You can hear, I'm sure, you can hear Chris Ford arguing with the referees right now. From Dahlkemper. Fields. Elwell. Trying to corral. Nice move. Maddie Elwell has some green now. Looking for options. That one too ahead of Shiva. Oh, we got a player down. It's Dahlkemper, I believe, for San Diego. He's holding that right leg as the training staff comes out. Of course, we are at that point of the year. It's always hot pretty much anywhere you go. Well, San Diego usually has pretty decent weather, but you go to places like Houston or, well, mostly Houston, it's going to be really difficult to play. And so it just looks like a cramping situation, gives everybody a chance to get some water, as Dahlkemper again hasn't been playing consistently with San Diego, so this is just her third game in the regular season. As just kind of off the ball. Well, yeah. Just need to get stretched out, I guess. Is an opportunity for Ward and Washington and Stoney and San Diego to have a conversation about how they're going to proceed now that they've seen each other for 25 plus minutes. And remember, these two sides have never played before, and so there is a feeling out period. And for Washington, you know, they've never faced San Diego, you know, in the history. This is not the first time, just the first time they've played this year. This is the first time they've ever played. So for teams playing San Diego for, you know, again, the first time, not to keep saying that, it is extra difficult just to understand their identity. I know you can watch film, but it's just not the same as actually feeling out a situation. And a team as talented as San Diego is going to be difficult to play against, regardless of whether or not they have Korniak and Alex Morgan, because they have someone like Doniak. Trying to get across, blocked away by Rodriguez. Again, Rodriguez gets in front of that, but it is going to be a corner for San Diego, so a set piece coming. through the air, back post. Not a clean header. Washington looking to transition here. There's a collision, and we do get a call a little bit late from Martinez, but ultimately it's Washington ball. Rodder slow to get up. Rodder has kind of been asked to play a utility role with Washington when they had so many injuries, and again, it appears that they're getting healthier and healthier, but when they did, at one point, and I guess it was the last game, they had to put Rodder in as left back, and she's comfortable-ish there, but they'd rather have her in the midfield with Dorian Bailey. That's where they have her now. A little awkward here as Elwell in the box, and defense collapses. That's real. Turnbow playing with it. Fields, mirrors. Well, Turnbow moves to the middle. Beautiful ball, Van Egmond. Has some time. And we've got a whistle. It's going to say, or excuse me, Martinez is going to say it just went out. No call. Rodriguez with a collision there. Now let's see. Van Egmond looks around. Well, we don't have the best look at that. Yeah, so Rodriguez and Schimmer. So it's actually a corner. Another chance for San Diego, and Kerr hauls it in. Boy, she had bodies all around her. Might have done that with one hand. Still not over for Washington. It has been very hard on goal kicks or any time that Kerr has it to just get it out without doing that. So right back at it is San Diego. Turnbow. Quick throw in. Westfall shuffles behind to Dahlkemper. Off to Telford. Dahlkemper again. Turnbow gets the edge. Centers, rips a shot, and it's way high. Things are starting to open up for San Diego. See if they can capitalize. Schimmer had a good look early. And you just saw that one from Turnbow. McGrady comes up. No error. But again, you can just see that San Diego is in Washington's head a little bit. Shiva. Bounced around possession-wise, ultimately with Washington. Burst of speed, and Bogalski loses it. Elwell. Turnbow, physical, and that's going to be a foul on Elwell, which she can't believe. And now Martinez is explaining sternly to Elwell. Let's see. Well, Elwell had the ball. I guess it was kind of 50-50, but if I can be honest, I felt like that was more on Turnbow. San Diego relentless, though. Relentless. And you can see the frustrations boiling over a little bit with Washington. Ward is adamant that that was not a foul on Elwell, but his team's got to focus on getting this out cleanly because they're not. I mean, I guess best case scenario, you just actually hit it out of place, so at least your defense can set up, but there's been multiple times where they've turned it over in their own defensive end, and that's just a recipe for disaster. Again, especially with the weapons that San Diego still has available. I mean, Breedy scored in the Challenge Cup. We know Turnbow can be dangerous, and then you've got so many players like Van Egmond, McNabb, and Doniak. Here's Turnbow, slices through again. Right-footed shot is blocked by Staub. It is a corner kick, though.
This is a San Diego Wave FC corner kick.
Stoney is adamant on where she wants Shimmer right now. Goes over everybody's head. That one was intended for real on the back post. Has scored against Chicago on a set piece. Again, Washington sends it right back into the stands. That was too fast on the throw-in for San Diego. But again, credit to San Diego, and what a clean grab, too. Just credit to San Diego, just not giving up on plays defensively. Doniak off a cross, Staub redirects. Turnbow. Westfall back to Turnbow. Here's Westfall off a beauty of a pass, off a cross, and a beautiful score for Washington. What a sequence for the Spirit. Mackenzie Doniak, 2 games, 2 goals. And the Wave go up 1-0. Well, you felt like that was coming. And the way it happened, picture perfect. And again, this really just starts with the relentless defense that the Wave have been showing. That's a beautiful ball from Westfall. Defense just loses Doniak.
Scored in the 36th minute by number 15, Mackenzie Doniak. The assistant number 20, Kristen Westfall. Again, San Diego winning.
Now Washington playing from behind.
Scored by number 15, Mackenzie Doniak. Assistant number 20, Kristen Westfall. The goal in the 36th minute is to score.
And again, I said this, I mean, this is the time that you, I know she's not a replacement player, but Doniak often comes in off the bench for San Diego. The way she's been playing in the last 2, really making a statement with the Wave. Again, 2 goals in as many games. I got a player down for Washington right now. That's Harding. Just took a shot to the face. And so the training staff's going to immediately come out. We saw Shimmer take a shot to the face from the actual ball early in this game. Get another look at this goal. Doniak was completely lost. I mean, I think Rodriguez was trying to box her out, but didn't really get a body on her. And Doniak, full speed ahead, just... I don't even think she needed to put a top shelf, but it sure looked fantastic when she did. That's 8 career goals for Doniak. Again, 2 so far this year. And I think with so many players being out, whether they're with the U.S. Women's National Team or Mexico or Canada during this stretch, a lot of the goal scoring is out. I mean, you just look at the top goal scorers across the NWSL, they're not available. I mean, talk about Ashley Hatch for Washington, of course, Alex Morgan, and then even, you know, a player like Smith for Portland, or, I mean, just honestly go through the top scorers right now in the NWSL. Most of them, because they are so good at scoring, are with their respective national teams. So
how's that not a foul for us?
Both teams and pretty much all the teams in the NWSL are just trying to figure out who's going to be the next woman up and move into that scoring role. I mean, talked about Morgan having 11 goals. Here's another chance for McGrady, though. Pulls it back, didn't have numbers. Well, tripped up his Turnbow, still has it. Yeah, I mean, San Diego's missing 13 of their 16 goals prior to the one that was just scored. Washington is in a very similar boat. Only got 2 goal scorers available in this one. Nobody home on that. Fly ball pickup for Kerr. Saab moves to the side, turns it over. Washington earns possession back. Again, playing from behind. Doniak with a finish, made it 1-0. San Diego up at home. San Diego team has not lost so far this year at Torero Stadium in the regular season. I should add, that did happen in the Challenge Cup. But ultimately, that doesn't have much of an effect. Of course, it's great to use the Challenge Cup to find your identity, and if you're a team like Washington or North Carolina, you found a lot of success there. But I think for San Diego, it was great because we just got a chance to actually play together. Shiva left for Elwell. Doesn't have numbers. She's got Feist to her left. Maddie Elwell again. Off to the right wing. Shiva. Elwell flings it in the box and it doesn't quite get there. Another foul on Washington, this time a push from behind by Marissa Shiva. Excuse me, Shiva. Just, you just combined her and Shimmer. You could hear and just kind of see the reaction from Stoney after that goal, because it felt like the game plan for San Diego was so strong and that they'd really earned it. Again, especially just going back to all the way that their forwards have been playing defense. Staub looks around, ultimately allows Kerr to pick it up. Foul on the Wave. These two teams foul the most, actually, in the NWSL. I mean, the only thing about those numbers is that they've played more games. than everybody else. Fields. Shimmer. Can't connect. Staub. Harding. Washington searching for the equalizer. Here comes Shiva. Puts it in the box. And just standing and waiting for it is Telford.
Carly Telford.
Westfall. Doniak fights. Keeps it in. Doniak through contact. Look at this. Boy, she just wouldn't give up. And that's what I mean. I mean, 1 goal for San Diego. Obviously, that's great going into halftime break. But it's also, if you're Stony, you just have to be so happy with the way that your team has come out swinging and completely following the game plan. Because yes, Washington has possessed for 62% of this game. That doesn't mean that they've done anything with that possession time. They're basically spending most of this game in their defensive end, working it back because they can't get it out. Here's a chance for San Diego. Turnbow, stifled, turns it back. No from Bogalski. McGrady back at it for the Wave. Dahlkemper. Westfall. Kerr dives and covers. Looks like we're going to get 5 minutes of stoppage time. Again, 5 minutes of stoppage time. Elwell on the wing. Real gets in front of that. Rodriguez. Stop. Harding. Stop. Realizing Shimmer is collapsing in on her. Goes back to Kerr, her keeper today. Shimmer up again. Another turnover for Washington. Westfall. Again, the Spirit have some players available that have played a lot of games in the NWSL, but it will be their first games back. So I think that is why we didn't see someone like McKeown in the starting lineup. Now, we'll see if Ward opts to use her right away or not. He did say that Dorian Bailey's probably only going to go 60 minutes. He's got another foul on Washington. Shimmer is slow to get up, and Elwell is getting another stern talking to. Let's see. Yeah, a clip of the ankle. Dahlkemper. Back post, Real charging in. And it's Kerr that gets there first. Shimmer. This could be costly for Washington. Breedy has a chance, tucks it in the corner. It's 2-0. Belle Breedy. First regular season goal. Stoney's pumped, and the home team takes a nice little lead going in the halftime break. Well, okay, this starts with Shim. Just lunges for it, gets it right back for San Diego, and she's got options. She goes to the right. Breedy was absolutely wide open. A great touch, a beautiful tuck in the corner, like I said. It's lovely stuff for San Diego. And again, they're up 2-0. Breedy scored in the Challenge Cup, but this is the first regular season goal for Breedy. Washington goes right back the other way to earn a corner as we head to the very end of this half.
New score, Wave FC 2, Washington 0. Spirit quarter kick.
Out to Fields, looking for one last look, and Telford denies. Showing off her hops there. That will take us to the end of the half. We got that final whistle. So again, it starts for Mackenzie Doniak. Strikes first for San Diego, and then that opens up the floodgates. Obviously a beautiful takeaway from Shimmer, turns into a goal from Breedy. And the home team, San Diego, up 2-0 at halftime on the Washington Spirit. We will take a break and come back for the start of the second half. Ready to start the second half. San Diego Wave, Washington Spirit meeting for the first time ever. Glad to have you along with me. I'm Maura Sheridan here on the Twitch feed, the international feed. And I hope you're enjoying the game wherever you're watching from. If you're a San Diego fan, this is going pretty well for you. 2 goals for the Wave. First one came from Mackenzie Doniak. As you know, it was just a really very smart game plan by Stoney and company, and I think there's a lot of really solid rookies and young players on this roster for San Diego. We're seeing a little taste of that maybe we're not used to because they have so many other players that usually start. And so because of all the international players gone right now, it's a chance for different players to show what they've got, and we've seen that. Again, Doniak is not as young as everyone else, but definitely was making a big difference up top. And then ultimately gets the ultimate reward on a beautiful cross from Westfall. Now that happened in the 36th minute, and then just a couple minutes later in stoppage time, Breedy, that's Belle Breedy, on a beautiful build-up, is able to finish for San Diego. And that comes because Marlene Shimmer, who's just 21 years old, caused a turnover. San Diego's off to the races. So again, that was in stoppage time at the very end too, +4. See what Washington has left in the tank if they can respond at all. This is a Spirit team that has scored just 10 goals this season. And again, I mentioned the fact that Ashley Hatch is not here, Trinity Rodman is not here, Sanchez is not here. Hatch has 4, Trinity Rodman has 2, Sanchez is 2. So those are heavy hitters, not available for Washington scoring-wise. But then again, San Diego missing the bulk of their scoring, and they still found a way. Doniak now has 2 goals in as many games, and for Brady, that was her first regular season goal. So really special moment too. Always fun when it happens at home. And if you're San Diego, just trying to hang on. Now Washington has been on the other side of this, where they've been up 2-0 at halftime. They just were against Racing Louisville, and that game ended in a draw. So never count anyone out in the NWSL, pretty much. It's been a wild season so far across the league in a good way. I don't think anyone really expected San Diego to be in first place like they are right now, or for a team like Washington to at the moment not be in the playoff picture. A team like Angel City to come up as strong as they have. I mean, Portland's always going to be in the mix, I think. OL Reign as well. So it sounds like Washington is going to make a sub, or they did already. So they've put in Anna Helferty. That was to be expected. And they have taken out Fields. There's a service, nobody home on the back post for San Diego, but a decent look already. One more sub to tell you about. Again, I mentioned the fact that Helferty entered the game. They've also put in Tara Miquion. That was a big storyline as Elwell exits going into this one, because for the first time in really, I mean, since the Challenge Cup, you look at the availability report for Washington, and they actually, besides one season-ending injury to Houston, they actually are all healthy. And so the question is, though, you're not just going to throw someone in for 90 minutes. So what was everyone's timeline going to be? Well, it sounds like Miquion will go the rest of the way, and that is a big step after dealing with a lower body injury for most of the season. Hasn't played a regular season game. She returns. Miquion's last game was the 25th of March, and that was a Challenge Cup. So that was just a week into the Challenge Cup. Rodriguez tangled up there. That's tripped, trying to get up in the mix with Turnbow. As Washington will come up with the ball against Staub. When you just go through the numbers in the first half, San Diego dominated all the numbers that counted, which is shots and shots on target. So 6-1 in the Waves' favor in shots and 3-0 in terms of shots on target. And I think one number that really stood out when I was just going through it at halftime is just possession won in the final third, 8-1 favor of San Diego. Feist. Again, we see that sub being made for San Diego. They just made the one. That's Katie Johnson who will come in, and Brady, who scored that second goal, comes out. And that's the thing with San Diego, is because they're being so aggressive on that press, and it's been very effective, but you might have to get fresh legs in there sooner rather than later, just because that can be so exhausting. And San Diego, when you talk to coaches around the league, they tend to say that the Wave are, you know, among the teams in the best shape, and that's obvious, I think, when you watch them play. But at some point, no matter how fit you are, it's going to get kind of exhausting, and so I'm sure Stoney will make a couple more changes. That's a very obvious foul.
You got to.
I don't think that was nasty or anything. You just saw Shimmer get a high five on her way back, so. Here comes San Diego. On the wing, in the box. McGrady. Harding. McGrady, again, doesn't give up. Here's a chance for San Diego. Would have been a nice through ball. Staub is all over it. Not a corner, but a throw-in in the corner for San Diego. Both of these teams, of course, we've talked about all of the players on international duty. I think it's important to note as well, they're just missing a lot of depth, and that is part of the conversation. The players are going to have to go a little longer. Chaos! Here's a chance for San Diego, and Van Egmond can't score. Kerr just went down, and for a second it looked like she was injured. Now she's up. It will be a corner for San Diego. That looked like a guaranteed goal, and somehow Washington survived. Another corner. Headed out by Staub. Right back with San Diego on the wing. In the box, Stoniak stumbles a little bit. Edged out. Here's another corner coming. Right now, her goal is the game winner. See, Shimmer is standing right in front of Devin Kerr. Keeper for Washington. Another head out. Deja vu, kind of the same sequence here. Kerr is backing up, and Van Egmond hits the side of the post. Well, that's 2 chances in a row for Van Egmond. Came very close. From Turnbow, and again Van Egmond. Ooh, inches off again. Turnbow sprints, tries to split the D, goes down, no call, still with the wave. Reel. McNabb, just heard Stoney say reset if you need to, and they do. Switching fields, flung all the way up into the corner. Here's a chance, service in the box, Staub gets in front of it, and an actual corner kick is coming. Another one for San Diego. Now they haven't been able to score on one of these. They've had a fair amount compared to Washington. Yeah, so 6-1 corner kicks, obviously in favor of San Diego. Turnbow. Low on that. Shiva waits for it. Wave ball. Rodriguez out of trouble. McGrady. Telford comes out. Big boot, keeper to keeper. And now Kerr controls. And the two backup keepers, I think there are opportunities today for both sides. That's Telford for San Diego and Kerr for Washington. Rodriguez sends it wide. Bigalski. Now that's one thing that Washington was going to try to do, was use those wide channels today. It really hasn't happened that much. The crosses have been few and far between. 23 crosses for San Diego and 9 for Washington. Of course, it helps when you have players like Rodman and O'Hara that are so good at that. But now here comes San Diego. So dangerous. Stab. From Dahlkemper. Van Egmond offside.
Marissa!
Van Egmond again. Chops it. Doniak. Real. And whereas in the first half, Washington was, actually possessing a lot, they just couldn't get it out of their own end. Now San Diego is possessing a decent amount and taking their time. I mean, what's the rush up 2-0? Real. McNabb. Moved to left and way out. Even Turnbow was pretty tall, couldn't get there. Well, the wave is going around at Torero Stadium again. A lot of people have some pretty strong feelings about the wave at sporting events either way, but this is one where you really just can't argue
I don't see
with them doing it here.
Oh no, it's coming back right now.
Spirit trying to make something happen. Here's a good opportunity. In the box. Ripped a shot. Bobbled. And covered. Telford. Knocking on the doorstep with the Spirit. As you see, this is why Washington was very eager to get Mikion back. Almost made something out of nothing there. And then Telford doesn't completely get it the first try around. Could see the collapse of looked like Harding there on the other end for Washington. And here comes San Diego. Denied by Kerr. Well, I was just talking about how both teams are, were more patient and all of that, and now this happens. Back-to-back, close calls for both keepers. That's Kerr with a big stop. No clear control. Again, Tara McKeown, Dorian Bailey. There's a lot of players actually for Washington. I know I'm leaving some out. Jordan Baggett. Lots of players that have been injured and are available. Avery Collins as well. McGrady. Real. Van Egmond. Triangle shape here. Off to Van Egmond. Moves it right. Dahl Kemper. Plenty of green. Doniak. There's a little give and go action. Looking for that through pass. And San Diego starts too quickly. So Martinez has them go back. Again, Samantha Martinez is the referee today. Got about a half an hour left in this one. It's 2-0. That was a score at halftime. San Diego has goals from Doniak. Another one from Brady.
Julia!
Looks like we'll have some subs. And all right, like I said, pretty much right on cue. Now, Almer has been very consistently in the lineup here, but she'll take out Bogolski. So again, Taylor Almer comes in the game. But I think what is the most exciting here is to have Jordan Baggett come in. Jordan Baggett had a very, very, very scary injury. By the way, she takes out Dorian Bailey in the Challenge Cup finale in the championship game. Just a collision, had to be stretchered off. It was just one of those really disheartening moments. You hate to see something like that happen. She was put on the 45-day disabled list, and she's back. But she's healthy enough to be playing in a game with about half an hour left, so you could see the love from her teammates. I'll never forget that moment, but glad to have Baggett back for Washington. You know, she's one of those players that, again, way early in the season, Chris Ward was talking about some of the scrimmages that she had and the way she was playing in those and the energy that she brings, etc. So not just storyline, and not just personally, but soccer-wise, they're very happy to have Baggett return. We got to play some defense now. Just an ultimate shot and a good chance for a header. Doesn't come through. All right, a lot of subs. Now it's Ali who comes in. It's Amira Ali for San Diego. Takes out Doniak. A good problem to have if you're San Diego, because I think both of these players in different times have really shined. And so Doniak, who gets a lot of love from the crowd in San Diego, exits, and then Ali comes in. Ali is certainly a player to watch out for in this game. Always provides a burst of energy, whether she's starting or whether she's coming in as a reserve. Can't lose her. She'll make you pay. And I love her chemistry with some of the other forwards that San Diego has. It's just that Ali at one point was a little banged up, so we haven't seen it as much. There's a shot, and it goes wide from Shimmer. Stop. Nifty footwork there. Almer, by the way, is playing right back. Came in for Bogolski. Real. Gets it out in time. This Telford. Rotter. Rodriguez. Helferty. Shiva. Feist. corner. Turnbow took that shot. From Staub, nothing. Shiva. Rolls all the way. Telford in net. Excuse me, Kerr in net. Westfall. Ali. Washington ball. Helferty. Rodriguez. Too much juice on that. This time it is Telford. Just mixing up my backup keepers. Well, starting keepers today. And for a while. That's a thing too. Kingsbury and Sheridan are going to be gone in CONCACAF for until at least, well, yeah, until the 18th. Well, that's how long it lasts. It starts tomorrow, CONCACAF W. Ali stays on side. Got Staub in her back. Here she comes again. There's a big cross. Charging in, no shot. Turnbow.
Marissa, go!
Transition opportunity for Washington. You can hear Ward say, Marissa, go. Shiva, and on the touchline. From Helferty. Decent ball, but an even better read by Van Egmond. And that's, again, everybody is missing players throughout the league, but I think what is great for San Diego is that a lot of their core and maybe unsung heroes remain. So again, their back line, you got Westfall and Reel and McGrady and Dahlkemper all available, and you got Van Egmond and McNabb and these players that, you know, they're not going to get the Alex Morgan highlight reel moments, but they're so crucial what San Diego does, and they're still there. And then you mix that in with some of these rookies that, you know, like Shimmer and some of these newer players like Breedy that are playing very well.
You gotta step!
You know, I think some people are looking at this time with national team replacement players as a time to just survive. But the teams that will be the most successful moving forward are the teams that look at it as a time to thrive. And you will see a team end up in the playoffs that right now aren't in the playoff picture, but because of how they play in this stretch, they'll end up in the playoffs. You'll be able to track it back at the end of the year. Now this is, I mean, for San Diego, they're in a good spot. They've got a target on their back in first place right now. But as we know in this league, things are ever changing. And if you're the Wave, you know, put on performances like this in this stretch, you should be all right.
Organize, Cal.
Organize! Organize!
San Diego trying to get organized as Staub will throw it in. She's hidden there, but she will. There she comes. Strong on that one. In the box, there's a big rip, and it goes wide. A decent look there for Ulmer. You know, she was signed as a COVID replacement player last year by Gotham. And then look, she has a roster spot with Washington. Again, just to prove the point that
Keep going, White. Keep it up.
even though it's not a long-term contract that you will sign as a national team replacement player, it doesn't mean that your future in the NWSL is over. It's like a little trial run. McKeown blazing in the box. Beautiful cross, doesn't get to Shiva. McGrady got a foot on that, and a beautiful save from Telford. Well, that was Washington's best offensive moment today, and it starts from McKeown. Look at this, gets the bounce, nice header to herself, just beats Dahlkemper in a foot race, and edges her out here. Pass reel as well. McGrady with that beautiful touch, but still Helferty was charging in and got a decent look. It wasn't a great angle, but Telford makes the necessary stop. Now Washington still knocking on the door. Look, we've got plenty of time. Another one's coming, that one off of Van Egmond. Staub has taken the most corner kicks in the NWSL, and that won't stop today. Nearly 50 on the year. Again, McKeown, they've missed her. That's evident. She's had 2 great sequences for the Spirit since she's entered the game not too long ago. Here's a rip, and it's over the crossbar from Harding. Would have been her first NWSL goal. It's too high.
Hey, hey. Okay, here we go. Here we go. First one.
That's a beauty of a ball from Staub. It goes exactly where it's supposed to go.
Be ready. Marissa.
Rodriguez. The slice broken up by the defense for San Diego. A foul's called. Van Egmond on the ground was still playing through some contact, but her team will get it back. There's a bunch of games in the NWSL this weekend. Kansas City beat Houston 2-1. OL Reign beat North Carolina 2-0. Angel City and Portland played an absolutely thrilling game. Final score was 1-1. It was a draw, but it looked like Angel City, who scored in the second minute, had that one in the bag and just came down to a beautiful finish from Yasmin Ryan. And then Chicago just took it to Gotham. Final score 3-0. Of course, we got this one going on right now, and then later today, just the nightcap on July 3rd. It was Racing Louisville and Orlando. They're playing from Daytona Speedway they've got there. So that's a really just creative and cool moment for the NWSL. There's Helferty. Shifty. McGrady reading well. Blocks that one. And Telford picks it up. Again, I did mention this earlier, but McGrady was picked up by San Diego from Washington. And she's just been playing really well today. We saw that there. Obviously, Helferty was trying to get her to move, and she just didn't bite on anything. A couple of wacky moments there. A couple of players down for San Diego, but it is Washington ball. It was Johnson who committed the foul. Previously, Ali was down, slow to get up, but she's all right.
Keep going, Marissa, keep going. Keep going. Higher.
Ali, stop. Right there with her. Ali still has it though. Pulls it out. On the wing. Cross doesn't get through to Ali. Westfall.
All right, build it! Build it!
Again, we are at Torero Stadium in San Diego. Washington Spirit on the San Diego Wave meeting for the first time ever. Washington Spirit have never come this way to California in their history, 10-year history of the team.
Hey, come on! Good, Marissa, higher again.
Their, what is it? They're basically their great-grandmother, their grandmother, the version of the Washington Spirit did. In 2003, that was a Washington Freedom. A lot of players on that team, Abby Wambach and Mia Hamm. Again, that was 2003. They didn't come out here to play a team from California. They came out to play the Atlanta Beat. And that was in what was called WUSA. There's been a lot of iterations since then. And we've settled on the NWSL for 10 years. As Rotter Turnbow, yeah, commits a foul there. Two legs intertwined, but obvious foul from Turnbow.
Good idea, good idea, good idea. Everyone's up inside. Fourth.
Both teams going to get some water right now as Ali is getting some attention from the training staff. Didn't see what happened there. Again, it's always a good time to just get some water in these games for both of these teams. It's not too hot in San Diego right now, about 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Which 21 degrees Celsius, that was just a quick translation. I hope I was right on that, but that's what I think. Okay, you can just see there's just an appetite for soccer, women's soccer, especially in California, evident by the success that Angel City and San Diego is having, not just on the field but off, and all the fans that they've been able to just acquire so quickly. And all of, the funding and, all of the top-notch players that wanted to go and play at these places. Who doesn't want to go to San Diego? Chris Ward knows that. That's where he's from. And I do think that that's why that Bay Area team, that Brandy Chastain, and Allie Wagner are just some of the many players that are trying to head that up, and I do think that is a very great idea for the NWSL. Clearly, the way that these two teams have just been able to enter the league in such a fantastic way, why not just keep that going? By the way, Tanea Alexander, you just saw her. She just checked in for Washington. And looks like Mia Zhao will come in for San Diego. Takes out McGrady. And then they'll use one of their national team replacement players, and that's Jackie Altschul. So again, Altschul and Zhao come in. Turnbow exits for San Diego, so getting some of those key players out both ends, give them some rest. 2-0, so decently comfortable for San Diego, especially when you consider the lack of opportunities for Washington so far in this game offensively. 11 of 5 shots in favor of San Diego, 4-2 in terms of shots on target. It's come from this side, the most action for Washington, as Rotter dishes it. From Staub. Johnson somehow maintained that. Look at all this fancy footwork. Ali, a little turned around there. Rotter, ooh, that's a shove after the fact. Definitely can see it with our camera angle too, the fact that we were right there on that. Let's see. Well, this starts from Johnson, and Feist with a little rip there as well. And Ali, off this, gets Rotter to fall to the ground, and, you know, I think that just never makes anybody feel good. Shiva was trying to help out. Ali, this is what I mean of just the way she plays. It frustrates people, and we just saw that there. They might have just saw that on the video board based on the reaction. It's nothing call-wise. However, it is a corner for San Diego. Zhao has it completely blocked. McKeown. Well, if you're Washington and you're going back and thinking of bright spots from this game, I think the way that McKeown has come out and just looked kind of like her old self, that is certainly a positive. The 2 sequences that she's had have nearly resulted in goals for Washington. Altschude fighting for it. There's Zhao. Boxing out Alexander. Only got 7 minutes left, and we got stoppage time as well. Rodriguez looks over his shoulder. And again, this just seems like it's going to continue. It's a real struggle for Washington right now. And I know that they're hurting because they have 7 players on the U.S. women's national team. That's certainly very important to know. As Johnson takes off in the middle, takes a shot of her own, and it's way off. At this point, why not? Going for it is Katie Johnson. Well, she's got 10 goals in her NWSL career, so been there, done that. From distance. But I was going to say that the struggles happened or have been happening for Washington prior to this international break, as Rodriguez is called for a foul there. They don't have a win. It's been 9 consecutive games. Just 1 win this regular season for the Spirit. And unless they get a miracle, that's going to continue. Dahlkemper curls this one in. Van Egmond doesn't get a foot on it. Back with San Diego, though. Off to Shimmer on the right side. Boy, I feel like Van Egmond, I mean, she's been the target a couple of times on some set pieces, but she's been very close to scoring, which she has not done this year. But I'm sure they would be extremely happy for her because she has played every minute for San Diego this season. The only other players to do that, Kaylin Sheridan and Naomi Girma, who are both out because, I said this earlier, but Girma's with U.S. Women's National Team, Sheridan's with Canada, and so it's going to be just Van Egmond after this one. Alexander has Zhao on her back. Battle of two young and talented players, and Zhao sort of wins out there. Alexander. Stab. Their left foot. McKeown at the top of the box, and she just barreled through McNabb. That was more of an accident, I think, but really took McNabb out. Coach is very vocal today, or maybe it's just our setup and we can hear word for word what they're saying. That's Stoney talking about going to the wide areas here for San Diego. Not going to give up on their game plan, having executed so well. I'll be interested to see what Stoney says in the press conference following this game, but I would say that if you're her and you sent out some players that haven't gotten as much time as everybody you usually have on your roster, and they just follow exactly what you say to a T, you have to feel great about that. Again, both goals for San Diego were scored in the first half. Doniak and Breedy, who are not in the game right now for the Wave. Alexander to McKeown, too far ahead. Overshoots her on that one. And you heard Ward say, right idea, and you can just see that McKeown is often in the right place or finding people in the right place. We didn't see certain players for Washington, but we did see a good chunk of the players that they had been missing for so long. Baggett, McKeown, Dorian Bailey, of course, got the start. Kerr. Again, she'll likely be the starter from here on out for Washington. Although I will say that the Spirit do carry Nicole Barnhart, who of course is just been in the league for such a long time. She's 40 years old. She's right now the backup goalie or the backup keeper for Washington. So she's an option as well, as Johnson trying to make something happen, runs straight into Staub. Ends up being a goal kick for Kerr. I think a lot of teams have to iron out certain things, but it's really tough when you lose your keeper, especially one of Kingsbury's caliber. Telford finally picks it up. Good game from her. She had to make one really important stop. was a shot from Helferty, and it was in the midst of some chaos created by Washington.
Here it comes.
So 3 minutes of stoppage time as Helferty goes for it again from way deep, and that one curls right to Telford. By the way, her teammate Kaylin Sheridan going into this game, I mean, San Diego had been outscoring heading into this game, opponents 16-8. That included 4 shutouts, and Telford is looking at one right now. Of course, it's not completely over, but that's gone up even more. So now San Diego has added 2 more goals, and at the moment has not given one up. So that difference is going to potentially go up to 10. Only Portland has scored more goals than San Diego this year. The Thorns had one game where they scored 6 goals against Orlando. I'm not saying it's an outlier, but Alexander called for the foul, just undercut Johnson, and she gets a yellow card. That's the first card we've seen. Again, Tanea Alexander with that one. From Van Egmond, Ali. Zhao. Johnson. Nice. Ali. I'm gonna get a foul. Dahlkemper. McKeown. Shifts direction. Here's a beautiful play. What a goal! Picture perfect from Washington. It starts with McKeown and Jordan Baggett heads it home. My goodness. Well, this is what I mean. I mean, look at this. Westphal has her, guarded very well, and Baggett did not really have any sort of separation, and yet they somehow make it work. Now, these are 2 players that, again, they're inching their way back in the lineup purely because of injury, and I imagine that based on that alone, they're going to get more time the next time around, and if they're healthy enough, I'm sure that Ward would like to start them. I don't know if that is in the plan or not, if they have to come back slower than that, but I mean, that was beautiful. I've done a lot of Washington games this year. I can't think of a goal that they've had that's been much prettier than that. So it cuts the lead to 1. Probably make too much of a difference in the way this game ends, but it's a good way to just at least you can take the plane ride home and think about that if you're Washington. You did score against San Diego. Again, it's only the 9th goal given up by the Wave this year. And I don't think that was, the worst thing I've ever seen defensively from San Diego. That was just extremely pretty from Baggett, and glad to see the smile on her face as we got a pushing and shoving after, as McKeown just got knocked after the fact. Now the training staff is going to come out, so don't like to see that, but San Diego finishes with a 2-1 win. It takes 2 goals in the first half to ultimately do Washington in. They do get a score from Jordan Baggett. Glad to have her back since her injury, but ultimately the game winner is from Belle Brady on the San Diego side. Still in first place are the Wave, and Washington handed loss number 4 on the year. Still searching to get back in the win column. They haven't won a game since May 1st. That will do it for me, Maura Sheridan from Torero Stadium. Glad to have you along with us. Glad to be back in the swing of things in the NWSL. Have a great holiday weekend, everybody.
Washington scored 1.